Getting on to what I want to chat about first. Self and Gareth were leaving here last night, and as you know, we were talking about taxi drivers last night. And particularly, we've kind of focused on taxis coming out of the airport for some strange reason, but in any case, that wasn't meant to be the topic. But in any case, as he came out of the car park last night, there was a few taxi drivers. Now, I'll be honest with you, we were a little bit intimidated at first. We didn't know what they were going to do. We thought they were after us. But no, they were lovely gentlemen. Nice chaps, right? And they wanted to raise the topic of rickshaws. Now, I did explain that we had talked about it during the day about a week and a half ago, but they were adamant that we needed to talk about this problem. And coincidentally, tonight, I was on the way in, and there's a gig on in the O2 tonight. And as I come around the roundabout, there's very little Garda presence for some strange reason, but anyways, as I come around the roundabout, because there's a detour here onto Castle Forbes Road, I come down to the end, come around the roundabout there at the East Link to come along the quays. What pulls out in front of me, nearly on two wheels as he was racing straight across the road? A rickshaw. I nearly ran the clown over. And a guard on the left-hand side, right in front of me, saw what he did, but did nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. And I kind of looked at the guard as if to say, did you see that? And he kind of just shrugged his shoulders and kept walking. These guys are law unto themselves. Well, tonight we decided we'd talk about them. You may remember, as I said last night, we did speak about some length about the racism towards taxi drivers. Well, in response to that, we would talk about these particular rickshaws. Now, it's clear to see that rickshaws have become a day-to-day sight on the streets of Ireland, main cities of Ireland. Whether it's tourists or Irish people having the banter, these rickshaw drivers have made an impact on the Irish roads. And if you haven't been in Dublin recently, they're like flies, they're everywhere. However, everyone does not seem to be too happy about this new mode of transport. And if you're unfamiliar with a rickshaw, it's not some little Chinese guy pulling things with his hands. These are bicycles, which some of them have 6 seats in the back, some of them have 3. Some of them are electric and some of them are cycle. Well, they all have to be pedalled, but some of them have electric motors and that makes it easier for them to cycle them. So this is basically an unregulated mode of transport. Throughout the country, there is no licence for these drivers whatsoever, apart from, I believe, Galway City seem to have regulations in place. No driving test, no requirement for road insurance, no tax, no NCT, no nothing. They don't even obey the rules of the road. As for paying tax on their income, well, how do you pay tax when it's an industry unregulated? Also, they say trips for tips, which technically is not earning a wage. How many stories have we seen in the papers of road accidents caused by these rickshaws? One of the more recent ones was following just the Justin Bieber concert, and I'm sure many of you have had or seen, a good and bad rickshaw driving. However, it is fair to say that it's not all bad press thrown around about the rickshaws. The Kings of Leon were playing there in the Tree Arena the other night in Dublin, and there will be hundreds of laughing customers sitting in the back of rickshaws, happy to pay anything from €40 fare to even possibly more to get up to Grafton Street or O'Connell Street. Taxi drivers have competition on their hands and they're feeling the pinch. Are they right to be upset at this unregulated industry hitting their livelihoods? And it is hitting their livelihoods. Do they need to get creative and come up with ways to beat the competition? Some will say that it's just a battle of economics. Horse and carriages lost out to steam trains, for example. That in turn lost out to aeroplanes. Or is it more than that? Taxi drivers will say that it's only a matter of time before somebody is killed as a result of these rickshaws. And I'm kind of in agreement with them, to be honest with you. It is. The way I've seen these guys driving, it is only a matter of time before somebody dies. But I want to hear tonight what you think. I want to hear your rickshaw stories. Maybe you've enjoyed your jaunt in a rickshaw, or maybe you have a horror story. Tonight I want to ask you a question. Should these rickshaws be banned off the city streets? Should they be banned? Are they dangerous? I want you to text 53544. Should they be banned? Text 53544. Now, we sent our man Jamie Harrington out onto the streets to talk to a couple of taxi drivers and possibly a couple of rickshaw drivers. And just before he came on air, he had a chat with one or two people. This is a rickshaw driver he was chatting to.
How long have you been in Ireland?
Sorry?
How long have you been in Ireland?
I arrived here 4 months ago.
And how long have you been driving a rickshaw?
I started rickshaw 3 months ago.
And today Kings of Leon are playing in the Tree Arena. How much are you charging from here on O'Connell Bridge to the Tree Arena?
In the show, depending the government. We can do better, very good. But during week, so.
How much money will it cost for one person to get to the Tree Arena?
Here is big, €10, €80, depending.
Per person?
Per person, depending.
And Have you ever had a crash on your bicycle?
Sorry?
Have you ever crashed?
Crash?
Bumped into somebody?
Dependent. 3 people.
No, but I mean, have you ever fallen off or hit another vehicle?
Other vehicle?
Yes.
I don't know other vehicle because it's bicycle. Yeah.
Yes, but have you ever hit another vehicle? So have you ever cycled into another vehicle and crashed?
Yeah. Together the taxi and other cars.
So yeah. And do you believe that rickshaws have a bad reputation? So do you think people don't like rickshaws?
No, the people like rickshaws. Yeah.
And what about taxi drivers? Do taxi drivers like rickshaws?
Dependent the distance. Because if a long time and better taxi, but in the city, around the city, is rickshaw is good.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
There you go, that's Jamie Harrington out on the streets talking to a rickshaw driver. Hopefully we'll get to speak to 1 or 2 more of them, because Jamie will be out in the streets for us in a few minutes live. But a lot of the taxi drivers are not happy, and I can see the problem here, okay? Immediately you listen to Jamie talking to this guy, he didn't understand a word of English. How the customer is supposed to speak to this guy when he doesn't really understand English very well. So God only knows where they'll end up in a wild goose chase somewhere. He clearly admitted that there has been a couple of crashes with both taxis and other drivers or road users, or that he had hit them on regular occasions. Text 53544. The question I want to ask is, should rickshaws be banned altogether off the roads? Are they dangerous? Jonathan, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Jonathan?
Hello, Niall. Thank you very much for having me on.
Okay, Jonathan, this is becoming a bigger problem by the day. I mean, I watched here even tonight as I was coming around the corner. I don't know what's on in the Tree Arena tonight, but there's something on. There's a lot of young people there, right? And the Kings of Leon, sorry, is on tonight again. And they're everywhere. This guy came out of nowhere, straight in front of me. They just don't seem to care.
On Sunday night, a couple of drivers went down to the North Quays to see how bad this situation was. I was one of those drivers. I normally wouldn't go down near the Tree Arena when there's a concert on, because I find the traffic very tough. But yeah. I just went down to have a look and see how bad this rickshaw situation was. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was in shock. There were hundreds of rickshaws now.
Where are they all? Are they coming from? Over the last couple of years, they seem to be multiplying.
Yes, absolutely. We're seeing them increasing every week, because you can tell by the condition of the vehicles that they're brand new. You know, some of them are sparkling. They're really only out of the wrapping paper. And basically what's happening is they're buying them in from the eastern countries, China for example. Mm-hmm. There's a website called Alibaba.com.
I know the one, yeah. It's like an Asian version of Amazon. I know it, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can see the rickshaws there. They seem to cost around €1,500. But like anything, if you buy a lot of them, you're buying them cheaper.
Well, I tell you, even at €1,500, you wouldn't be long about making your money back, would you?
Absolutely, and especially considering some of the prices that the public are telling us that they're being charged.
We've heard prices of €40 from the Tree Arena to Grafton Street.
Yes.
Now, Jonathan, how much would a taxi cost from the Tree Arena to Grafton Street?
Tree Arena to Grafton Street, if you had, like a rickshaw, 3 people in it, you would be somewhere around €12, I would imagine.
All right,
10 to €12, depending on the traffic lights.
See, okay, so now I'm only going to give you the argument from the other side. You're going to have customers or tourists saying it's a bit of fun, you know, they're out on a night out, they're having a few drinks, it's a bit of laugh, you know, it's rather than being cooped up in a taxi, they're out in the open and, you know, they're seeing the sights in fresh air in their face, and this is the argument they're going to give you, you know?
Absolutely, and to be fair, I'm sure they are an awful lot of fun, but the way it's set up now at the moment, it's a lawless entity, and somebody's going to get killed now. A couple of weeks ago, I was listening to your radio station do a news article, I think it was John Hart, who mentioned that already in 2017, we have the same number of cyclist fatalities that we had for the entire of 2016.
That's right, I remember that story, yes.
That tells me 2 things now. That tells me, first of all, sadly, we're going to have more cyclist fatalities before the year is out. And secondly, it is only a matter of time before the rickshaws are part of that statistic. We are seeing accidents on a nightly basis now. Last week there were 2 girls badly injured after the Justin Bieber concert.
One girl broke her leg, yeah.
It was a broken elbow, I think.
Oh, broken elbow, okay.
Broken elbow. There was a lady in London who recently broke her leg on a rickshaw. We found that there's a Facebook page, Ban Rickshaws in Dublin, that was set up after somebody was injured, and people are putting posts on that, videos and the likes, and stories are coming in of some of the accidents in London, and some of them are horrific. This is a time bomb, a ticking time bomb, and somebody is going to be
has any political correspondent or any minister or any TD suggested legislation or regulation? To your knowledge, has anybody suggested anything? I know Galway City have some regulation on around these, as far as I know, but has anybody in Dublin, which is the biggest problem, suggested any regulation around these?
Right, well, in fairness, there was one Fine Gael TD, a TD out in West Dublin, Derek Keating.
Okay.
He took up the mantle of this cause, and he did very, very well. He was on various different radio stations. The Journal did an article because he went to Dublin City Council, but unfortunately, Derek Keating wasn't re-elected last year, so we don't seem to have a TD at the moment that is genuinely concerned about this issue. And as you mentioned, there are other cities in Ireland where these rickshaws have been banned. Of course, they end up in Dublin when they are banned. Recently, for example, Belfast has brought in some legislation and has regulated a certain amount of them, and the surplus to requirement ended up in trucks down here in Dublin.
And why is it we seem to see that all the rickshaws are being driven by, it seems to be, Brazilian students? Am I being stereotyping here? I mean, they seem to be all Brazilian students.
Absolutely not, Niall. You're not stereotyping, because they have a documentary video that they've put up themselves on YouTube where they admit that over 90% of the drivers are Brazilian, and the remaining ones are usually from other South European countries like Venezuela.
So there doesn't seem to be any Irish
South American countries.
Okay, there doesn't seem to be any Irish people doing it.
Not that I'm aware of. There are some Irish operators that own them, all right.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually aware of any drivers working.
I mean, when I go back 10 or 15 years ago, there was a few of them on the street. There wasn't that many, right? And it was kind of nice to see them every now and again. But now I see them, for example, I walked up Grafton Street there 2 weeks ago, and I came out of Lily's and walked up the top of Grafton Street, and there was a pile of them all parked at the top of Grafton Street there, all waiting for people, obviously drunk, coming out of clubs and bars. I walked down the bottom of Grafton Street, there's a pile of them down there at the end as well. They seem to just waiting everywhere for people. Now, some people are going to say, Jonathan, that you as a taxi driver, I know you're not a spokesperson for the whole taxi industry, but certainly you speak for a lot of taxi drivers, that maybe it's a bit of sour grapes, that, and I'm only giving you the argument that you guys are pissed off because you're losing out on a few fares here. Is that the case as well?
Well, Niall, to be totally fair here, if you had have posed that question to me a year ago, I would have admitted that yes, I do have a bee in my bonnet because I'm a licensed paying taxi driver. I have to jump through hoops, as all the taxi drivers do, to do our license every year, to renew our driver's badge every 5 years. Everything we do with the taxi, we've got to produce, quite rightly, our tax clearance number to show that we're compliant with revenue. We have
liability insurance.
We have huge insurance, Niall. Some people are paying crazy amounts for insurance. I've heard stories of people paying €8,000 and €9,000 for taxi insurance. You know, and we are regulated. We're regulated very, very heavily. And there are, one of the misinformations you got last night in your story, you were told that there were only 6 enforcement officers. That's incorrect. There are actually 24 enforcement officers now.
Well, I was told that by about 3 people last night, actually, yeah.
Yeah, there's 24 now, and they do come out, and
so the bottom line is you guys are governed by a lot of regulations, a lot of rules, and a lot of expense. Okay, these guys are going out and doing it for free, and I'm assuming if you're a taxi driver in Dublin City or in Cork City or Limerick City, wherever it is, the main crust comes from the small journeys, those journeys from the likes of the Tree Arena up to Grafton Street, from Grafton Street back down to O'Connell Street or whatever. People who just don't want to walk or in the rain don't want to go too far. So there's a lot of short journeys, a lot of short hops.
Well, it doesn't really matter, Niall, what the journeys are, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have been vetted, we're the ones that have been licensed, we have been assigned the duty to carry people, members of the public. That's why we're called a public service vehicle.
Well, do me a favour, stay there, Jonathan, please, for a second. We are talking about rickshaws, okay? I want to just, and I'm going to come to Jamie, he's out at the street, he's talking to a rickshaw driver at the moment. Before I do that, I just want to go to Alison if I can. Hold on for a second, I'll just switch over my lines here. Alison, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Alison?
Hi, Niall, how are you?
Hey, Alison, you were out with your sister in a rickshaw, and you were the people who were involved in the accident at the Justin Bieber concert.
Yeah, that was me and my sister, yeah.
Okay, so what happened? You come out of the concert, you decided you thought this would be fun, we'll jump into this.
That's not really how it came down at first. Me and my sister came out and we were originally going to get a taxi. Funny enough, we were originally just going to get a taxi, but we seen how jam-packed the traffic was. So we were saying to ourselves, we probably just be better. First of all, we were saying maybe we'll get a bus, and then we seen the queues and queues and queues of people that were trying to get a bus as well. So we were thinking of how long is this walk going to be all the way up to O'Connell Street, which is kind of up the direction we were heading. So me and my sister kind of looked at each other like, will we hop on a rickshaw and see how much he'd charge us to bring us to like O'Connell Street, Temple Bar kind of area, because we wanted to just get something to eat and go home. So first of all, the guy was saying €40 for the
40?
two of us, and so I was like, not a hope. So we were walking away, and he was like, oh no, I'll do it for 35. And I was like, no, I'm still like. So we eventually got it down to say 20 to 25, and we were like, look, okay, well, look, that's probably the best we're going to do. Like, so we said that we get in, and so we said, well, since we're paying 25, you might as well bring us all the way down to Temple Bar then, because we might as well get our
money's worth. Yeah, absolutely.
So bring us all the way down to Temple Bar, and that way then we can go. You know, we kind of do what we like, because it was only 10:30 at this point as well.
Right. Okay. So the night wasn't over, so to speak. Yeah.
So we got into the rickshaw, and we were just kind of going down towards Mount Lower Street.
And how did you feel in the rickshaw? I mean, was it moving fairly fast? Did you feel reasonably safe?
No. Like it was moving very quick, and at one point we did tell the fella to slow down at one point, because like I kept saying to my sister, I said, this car next to us, like if he doesn't slow down at some point, so like we're going to end up like crashing into somebody, that's what I was kind of saying to him.
And was he close to the traffic? Do you think, was he driving dangerously?
He was close enough to the traffic, but I wouldn't say at this moment in time he was even driving dangerously. It was just because I was out on a main road with all the cars.
Right. Okay.
I was just afraid of someone hitting us, which they did in the end. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But so the basically the driver of the other car was on basically about 2 minutes before our accident. I'd actually seen this man on his phone when he was driving, and I kept. Like, I didn't think anything of it at the time or of it, and then 2 minutes later the car kind of went a little bit went sideways into us.
Right, okay.
So then the rickshaw toppled over onto the road.
With the three is on it, essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously our driver, the rickshaw fell off. I fell onto the road first. My sister fell on top of me, and the rickshaw, we were kind of underneath the rickshaw at this point.
Oh gosh.
So we were very close. The man who was driving the car had a trailer, and my head was very close to the back wheels of his trailer. So in between the two. So basically, if I hadn't got up as quickly as I did, he may have ran over my head.
Oh gosh.
So I got up. I had to get up fairly quickly, and in the process, kind of like I leaned on my elbow. I fractured my elbow in the space of getting up, because I got up quickly and then had to try and get my sister out from underneath the rickshaw, obviously. So I fractured.
And how was your sister? Was she all right?
She has a possible fracture on her rib.
Right, okay.
And she tore ligaments in her ankle.
And how was the driver? Was the driver injured? Of the rickshaw?
The driver had a few cuts and bruises and stuff like that. Now I had a swollen knee at the time as well. Like I had a lot cuts and bruises to my knee, and I have muscle damage to my lower back.
And what did the driver say to you? Did he apologise, or did the driver of the car apologise, or what?
It was a hit and run. He drove off.
Oh, he drove off. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So he hit us and he drove up ahead, and it was like the T-junction thing at Mount Lower Street, right up for the Hollis Street Hospital. He drove up ahead, got out of the car to see what happened, got back into his car with the trailer and drove off down the road.
Right, okay.
So,
did you get a reg number or anything? No.
Well, at that particular moment in time, I didn't even know he was still there at that point until these people had said to me, "Oh, that's him," and I just seen him run back to his car, and I immediately tried to run, realising then how actually sore my leg was. So the two of my witnesses actually tried to run after the car as well to try and get some sort of a reg or a description or like that of the car, but he just left, like, you know what I mean. So that's why I put the post my post up on public, for
in the hope that somebody might have saw it.
Yeah, because I wanted to see if anybody could give me any information on if they seen anything extra that I...
And what was the reaction of the rickshaw driver? What did he say to you? I mean, was he apologetic about the whole thing? Well, I mean, it wasn't really his fault, I suppose.
Yeah, like, no, he was apologetic, in fairness. So he was, and he was helpful and stuff like that as well. So he actually gave us his name and he gave us his number. And, you know what I mean? So
see, the problem is, if you would have been in a taxi, even if that was a hit and run, the taxi driver the car you were in would have been liable. So there would have been a form of compensation, obviously, for your injuries, etc., etc. Whereas here we have a rickshaw driver who has no insurance.
And, I know. Like, so it is a lot more difficult to get.
Yeah. Would you ever get into a rickshaw again? No.
Not a hope.
So, when you were in the rickshaw, did you feel safe at all at any point? Or were you kind of regretting it from the moment you got into it?
No, like, we were in it, we were okay, because I have gotten rickshaws before, but, like, obviously shorter distances, like, if, say, I was...
from Temple Bar up to Grafton Street or something like that,
so I see up to the end of Grafton Street or something, so it's not really, like I had people and all on, like, my Facebook and all like that, saying to me, you know, "Oh, if you hadn't been thinking about your drink, this wouldn't have happened." But what these kind of
people
don't
your
know
fault.
is that I don't even drink alcohol, and whether I was drunk or not.
See Justin Bieber, in fairness.
I do want. See, they're the kind of jokes that you people go on about, like.
No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
But so as far as some people actually did say on my status that both me and my sister, it served us both right.
Well, no, I would never suggest that for a minute. Nobody deserves that to happen.
No, like, because what they don't know is that I don't drink, and neither does my sister. Like, my sister was on antibiotics that night, and I don't drink as it is. So, like, and even people were saying, like, whether you were literally drunk as hell getting on that rickshaw, it's got nothing to do.
Well, absolutely. I mean, look, people are drunk getting onto them every night in the middle of town. And they're drunk getting into taxis as well. So you still should be safe. It doesn't matter whether you're drunk or not. You should be reasonably safe. Yeah. Well, listen, I wish you well, and I hope you get sorted out, and I hope you get some end to that. If anybody knows who that rickshaw or that driver, that car is, the trailer, if you've got any information at all, you can contact us here. Thanks very much indeed, and I appreciate you coming on the air. All right. Now let me go to Jamie. I'll go back to you in a second, Jonathan. Hold there, because Jamie's out in the street.
Okay.
And I'll come to you in a minute, Steve, as well. Sorry, Jamie, you're with a rickshaw driver there, are you?
Hi, Niall. I'm here on the quays with not one but a 30 rickshaw drivers just outside the Tree Arena.
Okay.
And I have one here with me.
Hopefully he'll understand English better than the last one you spoke to.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, just speaking English.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I do.
Hi, how are you doing? It's good to talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're waiting for a bit of business outside the Tree Arena. You've heard, I suppose, there's a lot of controversy lately about rickshaws in Dublin City and the fact that they've no regulation. Do you have any insurance whatsoever?
No, not at all.
Okay, so what happens if somebody gets hurt in the rickshaw?
If somebody gets injured in a rickshaw?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they have a personal insurance.
What, we all go around with personal insurance, do we? I don't know anybody who has personal insurance.
All right, well, I don't
know what country you happen to be from, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but I don't know anybody in Ireland who carries personal insurance unless they've health insurance.
Yeah, all right. Just imagine a world where if you go out and you get injured, like let's say you go to Temple Bar and you get into a fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes this can happen.
But hold on, getting into a fight and getting injured in a rickshaw are two completely different things. With the rickshaw, are you not providing a service?
No, we're not providing any insurance or any coverage.
No, you're providing a service.
A service?
Yeah, service.
Oh, a service.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, but it's a service. It's based on trust.
It's based on trust.
Yeah, it's based on trust, and as you know, it's not official at all. There is no
regulations. No.
And you have to keep in mind that as the driver, we rely a lot on safety when we drive people around, because if our bicycle, if our rickshaw gets broken, we cannot work anymore. If we get injured as well, we cannot work. We have no protection.
Well, I think that goes for everybody who provides a service. If you get injured, you can't work. Obviously, you're self-employed. How much would it cost if I was to jump into your rickshaw now and you were to take me to, say, Temple Bar? How much would it cost to get to Temple Bar, roughly?
To Temple Bar from where?
From where you are, the Tree Arena.
Oh, here it's around €10.
10 euros? You heard the previous girl there saying a rickshaw driver was looking for 40 off her. And then eventually she got it for 25.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. It's bargain stuff.
Okay, so you have to bargain with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So you'll chance your arm and say 30 in the hope that I might actually pay it.
Yeah.
Okay, and will you be busy tonight? Will you get many trips?
Well, it depends. During the week it's very calm, but on Fridays, Sundays, and Saturdays it can be very busy.
And where can I ask you where you're from, by the way, originally?
Yeah, well, I'm from France, but
where are you from? Spain.
I'm the French one, or all the other ones are Brazilian.
Brazilian, and you're from Spain. And what are you a student?
Yeah, I'm a student. Yeah. I just came in Dublin for the summer, and I find the job quite easy. So yeah.
Okay, so and is that your own rickshaw, or do you rent it, or?
No, I just rent it.
You bought it, did you?
No, I rent it.
Oh, you rent it. Okay, so and are they expensive to rent?
Oh no, not so much. Around €100 a week.
About €100 a week. And can I ask you, if it's not too personal, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to, how much would you make on a good night?
Oh, it depends. Especially because I'm just a beginner at the rickshaw. I just came in Dublin 4 days ago.
Yeah.
But in average, I've heard that you can make up to 300 a night.
300 a night?
Yeah.
Can somebody get me a rickshaw? And me, yeah, everybody wants a rickshaw now. Well, okay, so €300 a night, tax-free, of course, because I'm sure you're not running to the Revenue Commissioner to pay tax on it. So it's tax-free, it's cash. Oh, that sort of quieted them down a little bit, didn't it?
I think the other rickshaw drivers here are trying to communicate to this guy that it's not €300 a night that they'd make. And it wouldn't be like...
Seems like a lot of money, all right.
They speak Brazilian.
They're all speaking Spanish to him, are they? Yeah. Okay, so you've changed your tune. Okay, so it's not 300. How much is it a night? Okay, we'll come back to you in a second. Okay, Jamie, I'll tell you what, we'll come back to you in a second. They're all kind of talking to each other there. Well, Jonathan, you heard that rickshaw driver there, and unfortunately you heard that young lady who damaged her elbow as well. So are you still there, Jonathan?
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's only here 4 days, and he's driving a rickshaw around.
Right, okay. Well, first of all, I hope Alison's still listening. Alison, I was aware of your story on Facebook, as were a lot of taxi drivers, and it's a horrific story. I'm very, very lucky there wasn't a death there, Niall.
Yeah, with the greatest respect, it wasn't the rickshaw driver's fault, it seems, from what she's telling us. It was the person who ran into them on the mobile phone with his trailer. But in saying that, the point I made to her was, even in a hit-and-run situation, if she was in a taxi, the taxi driver would be insured.
Yes, and not only insured, remember, you're in a tin can that has airbags.
Yeah.
It has seatbelts. You know?
Yeah.
A rickshaw doesn't have seatbelts. It doesn't have airbags. It has no protection at all. The only place you're going where there's an accident with a rickshaw is out of that carriage. You know, they're meant to be bicycles. Under the law, they're considered bicycles, yet there's no helmets involved. You know? And Dublin City Council a couple of weeks ago had the cheek to make a public statement that rickshaws were unregulated and unlicensed, and we advise that the public don't use them.
That's it.
That's
like saying there's guns for sale, but we'd rather you didn't buy them.
Absolutely. And as for the money end of it there, the stories that I'm hearing anyway, right, the fare might start at €10. But when you get to the end of the destination, the guy turns around and then he starts to make out that it's €10 each.
Oh, right, okay.
Right? So suddenly it becomes €30. And there have been incidents where people stood up to them. Now, I had 2 guys in my car, and they were fairly big, burly guys that you wouldn't mess with. And they told me that they were scammed like that they thought it was €10 just from basically the Lewis stop there to the bottom of Grafton Street at College, around College Green. Right? They were told €10. When they got there, not even 400 metres, your man said, well, that's €10 each. They went, no, this is not what we agreed. And within seconds, they were surrounded by rickshaws.
I'm just sorry, I'm wondering if Jamie got that rickshaw driver back. Is he back?
I am back, yeah.
Oh, you have a female rickshaw driver there. Sorry, and I'm sorry, Steve, I'm going to go to you in a second. Sorry, Jamie, have you got a female rickshaw driver there?
I have a female rickshaw driver here, yeah.
Okay, just keep the phone up to her there. Can she hear you?
Yep, go on.
Okay, sorry, hi, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm Gabrielle, I'm good, and you?
Good, you're live on the radio, by the way. We were just talking to the other chap there. Can we ask you, how much would you make on an average night? What's a good night?
A good night, I do 100, 30, maybe a few. It's a really, really good night.
Okay, on a really good night, 150.
I do one concert in the night, I do this.
Okay, and you were listening to, I don't know whether you heard a few minutes ago, was a taxi driver on basically saying rickshaws are dangerous, they're unregulated, you've no insurance, they're not safe, there's no seatbelts. Do you believe they're safe?
Yeah, I'm safe, and I know a lot of your rickshaws are safe. I don't think it's dangerous.
Okay, it's quite hard to hear her, Jamie. I don't know whether you can get that phone closer to her or not.
Yeah, no, can I come back in there?
Yeah, well, okay, well, hang on, Jonathan, for a second. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so you believe they're safe?
Yeah, I think it's safe. For me, it's safe because we do this with us life, you know. So us cycling and us life with the customers.
And where are you from yourself originally? Where do you come from originally?
I'm from Brazil.
You're from Brazil. Can you answer me a question? Why is it the majority of rickshaw drivers are from Brazil? Why is that?
Yeah, because here have a lot of incidents needs work, and I have work for everybody. And
are you here on a student visa? Are you a student? Yes.
Yes, we are students. A lot of rickshaws are students. Everybody is a student.
But you do realise that's a breach of the visa, don't you? Because it's actually a breach of your student visa. You're allowed to work how many hours on a student visa?
Oh, yeah, we have, but they have work for us. Because I have a lot of students here, not just Brazilian, Mexicans, and Chileans, you know, and France. So, have a lot of students here. We can't to take a lot of work. They have work for us. And we need to work because we need to eat. We need to take a shower. You know.
Well, everybody does. We all need to pay for ourselves. Because hold on a second, because Jonathan, the taxi driver, is on the other line. He wants to ask you something. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Well, basically...
Well, hang on, please. Sorry, Jonathan, go ahead.
Well, basically, Niall, right, I just don't believe what we've just heard there, that they're earning €100 and on a really good night they're earning €150. Because we're hearing stories. Again, the other night, here at the Tree Arena, there were a couple of people wanted to go to Dawson Street. And they were brought to Dorset Street and it cost £50. So that job, I don't know how long it would take in a rickshaw, right? They can do it quite fast because a lot of these rickshaws have little electric motors underneath them.
That's right, yeah.
So they can do a distance very, very quickly, right? So that rickshaw driver made £50 on a busy night for, let's say, half an hour. Right, and then was working for a further 6 or 7 hours, and we're to believe that he didn't get more £50, because when this started, Niall, right, we were told by the customers that they were paying €3 and €4, and then it went up to €10, and then it went up to €20, and now it's gone 30, 40, 50, whatever they can get. And they've gotten even more smart, because in certain areas they now have very pretty young ladies acting as marshals for them. For example, in Temple Bar at Gogarty's pub, if you know where...
I know, yeah, the left bank, yeah.
They have a very pretty Brazilian girl who speaks excellent English, and as tourists are approaching, she goes, "Hi guys, where are you going?" And of course, a tourist, an English guy, for example, is going to answer, "Yeah, we're going to Camden Street." And she's coercing them into the rickshaw, and she's setting the price. And we've been told it's €30 from Gogarty's up to Camden Street.
I mean, it does seem a little bit expensive. If I can go back to our rickshaw driver there, are you still there?
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're in the grade then. And we have to do a house one.
Okay, well, unfortunately, Jamie, we can't actually really hear it. It's very muffled. Let me just go to... I'll come back to Jamie in a second. Let me just go to Steve. Steve, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Steve?
Oh, Jamie.
Sorry for keeping you so long, Steve. Sorry.
No, you're grand. Don't worry about it. Look, as far as Jonathan is concerned, this is just typical Irish begrudgery. You know, we live in a country that's too heavily regulated. I mean, there's just regulations on absolutely everything.
There has to be regulations.
No, it doesn't, Niall. It doesn't.
You can't have an unregulated system.
Niall, it's ruining it for everybody else. I guarantee you have a guy who cleans your windows, yeah?
Yeah. No, I don't. I actually don't. Years now. I clean my own windows now.
Right, but years ago there was guys going around cleaning windows.
Yeah.
Do you remember them knocking at the doors? Did they have insurance?
No, but if they fell off a ladder, your house insurance would cover them.
Maybe, but did they have insurance? No, they didn't, and there wasn't 1,000,001 accidents. And the way this Jonathan guy is going on, you'd swear that all these rickshaw drivers were Evel Knievel going 200 miles per hour. They're on bicycles. There are already thousands.
Yeah, but they're not average bicycles. These are the width of a car. A lot of them.
I understand that, but they're on average in Dublin city centre every day there are thousands of bicycles which are equally as dangerous as a rickshaw. So why don't the taxi drivers, stand up?
But Steve, the bicycle is not providing a service. These rickshaw drivers are providing a service.
Exactly, and he's banging on about the danger. What his big problem is, the money. It's nothing to do with the danger. He doesn't give a shite about whether somebody comes off a rickshaw or not.
I would tell you he doesn't give a shite.
No, he doesn't give a shite. It's about the money. That is the crux of this entire argument. They are begrudging these people earning a living because they're taken out of their pocket. That is exactly
right. Can I come back in and answer something?
Yeah, Jonathan, go ahead.
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, a window cleaner is never going to kill an innocent member of the public. Let's get that sorted out.
And how is a bicycle going to do that?
Well, I tell you what, if you go onto YouTube and type in Dublin rickshaw crash, you will see a video where two rickshaws were chariot racing down the streets. Okay. And one of the rickshaws decided to turn right very sharply onto a one-way street, and he went head-on into a Mercedes coming down the other way. And you can see that video, anybody can see that video, Dublin rickshaw crash. And that was one of the bucket rickshaws, we call them. It's the rickshaw where people sit at the front. Right? The people got off that rickshaw in knots of laughter. Right? The rickshaw driver got off that rickshaw in knots of laughter. But believe me, the day somebody dies, there will not be knots of laughter.
And hold on, but there's deaths on bicycles on the roads. There's deaths in cars on the roads.
I agree 100%. Right?
But if we had a system... To the argument here, it's all about the money with you guys, with the taxi drivers.
Right, let's get to the crux of the money if this is what you want to talk about. You won't be right that there are a lot of taxi drivers that are very concerned about this because it is encroaching on their legitimate, licensed business.
Like the deregulation of all the hackneys in that years ago when you went mental then, you all had a conniption fit.
Ultimately, our industry was regulated, right? And we had to sort ourselves out. And we have to be properly licensed. We have to pay a lot of money to do all of that. We go through a vetting procedure. We're identifiable. We're traceable, right?
That's fine.
You have to realise, right, something happens in a rickshaw, Steve, there is no registration plate. There is no PSP plate.
Absolutely.
The driver, no, hang on, let me finish. The driver has no identification or qualification. The rickshaw has no insurance. It has no seat belts.
And
it has no helmet.
Equally can be said about a bicycle that's travelling on the roads in Dublin.
Hang on, a bicycle is not taking passengers, you clown. It's not even a good analogy. If I'm out on a bicycle, I have personal responsibility on that bicycle. If I hurt myself, that's my own fault, right? But I'm not offering people, I'm not stopping on the side of the road and charging people to jump on the crossbar. What are you talking about, Steve?
I understand that there has to be some rules surrounding.
But there's no rules, absolutely none. The point Jonathan is making is it's an unfair market. If these guys had to pay insurance, tax, had to do some sort of knowledge test about the rules of the road, I think he might think a little bit differently about it. It would make it more difficult for obviously them to get into the game. But you just heard the first guy we talked about, the Spanish guy, the rickshaw driver, he's only here 4 days.
So what will we do? Just discourage?
So he doesn't even know where he's going.
I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion what we do. We follow what Amsterdam did. Amsterdam is similar in size and population to Dublin. And what Amsterdam did was they legislated for rickshaws. The rickshaws have been uniformed, so they all look the same. They have a registration plate. They have prices set and displayed at the side of the vehicle. Right? The driver has been trained and has an identification. And when they go out onto the street, they have to go to a designated place for them to apply for hire. When you come along,
I'm actually just laughing to myself here because all of what you're saying is a great idea. But you, the taxi drivers who are all listening, will still have an argument with it because they're taking the bread from your pockets.
Well, absolutely, they're taking the bread from our
pockets. So you're still going to complain. So let's not be silly here and say it's all about safety and regulations and insurance. This is not the reason you're arguing.
If you had have actually let me finish the point that I was making, right?
Please.
If we did similar to Amsterdam, now I counted 12 of these designated places and I never saw any more than 2 or 3 rickshaws on them. We estimate that there's upwards of 1,000 rickshaws in this city now.
Okay.
Right? That is far too many.
And where are you getting them figures from?
Because we know the amount of lockups there are.
Who's we?
Taxi drivers know.
Oh, so the taxi drivers know.
But you see, in your opinion, Stephen, this was fine for 1,000 rickshaws to run havoc around the road, break the rules of the road. So we bring another 400 or 500 of them in as well.
Hold on a second. How many taxi accidents has there been in Dublin?
But hang on, Steve. It doesn't matter how many taxi accidents there happens. And by the way, one accident is too many. But it doesn't matter. They're insured. Okay. So if somebody gets hurt, they'll get compensated. If you get hurt in a rickshaw and you go head over heels out the front of a rickshaw, Steve, and that rickshaw driver pisses off, you're not getting a penny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're taking a huge risk and you're paying more money for that risk. Stay there, Steve, for a second. I've come to Tony in a second as well. He's waiting ages, but I'm just going back to Jamie because Jamie's speaking to another rickshaw driver there. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, Jamie. Just outside the Tree Arena at the moment, the Prince of Leon, Kings of Leon are at the moment. And who's the rickshaw driver? Who is he?
Yadol.
Yadol, is that right? Where are you from, Yadol, originally?
Brazil.
Brazil, okay. How long are you living in Ireland?
1 year and a half already.
Okay, so and are you driving a rickshaw for the last year and a half?
For 6 months.
For 6 months, okay. Now, there's a bit of an argument over how much money a rickshaw driver can make in Dublin. How much money could a good rickshaw driver make on a Saturday night?
It's like the girl before me said it's around 150 on a really busy night.
150 on a busy night?
Yeah, it's like the example that the guy said that one guy made 50 quid in one lift. It's like, it's not something that happens every time and every day.
Okay, so it depends on the night. Okay.
Yeah.
And how long you're out, etc., etc. Okay. How would you feel if the government brought in legislation? Because there's no legislation at the moment. There's no laws.
That would not be a problem. It's like, would be good because it's not that we want to be in the spot. Like, we don't know if it's legal or illegal. It's like if they put a regulation, we have no problem to follow the regulation.
But would you be happy enough to go out and get insurance?
Yes, it's not the problem.
And have you attempted to get a liability insurance? Because there are insurance companies out there who would possibly insure you for what you're doing. Have you actually attempted to get it?
No, not yet.
Well, why not? Because I mean, you are offering a service where people's lives, people's lives are in your hands.
Yes, I know that we're offering this kind of service, but we are also responsible for his life. So.
Yeah, but if you have an accident tonight, for example, and I hope you don't.
Yes, no.
The people who are injured will get no compensation.
The only time that I almost had an accident was because one taxi driver pushed me against the sidewalk.
Because a taxi driver pushed you against the sidewalk?
Yes. Sometimes they just drive against us and force us to go to the sidewalk.
And do you think there's a mutual, I suppose, hatred between taxi drivers and rickshaw drivers?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Do you think most taxi drivers are okay?
Sorry?
Do you think most taxi drivers are okay with you guys?
Yeah, like the other day I take a taxi and say to the taxi driver that I was a rickshaw. We talked for like 30 minutes, talking about the rickshaw life and the taxi driver life, and without any problem.
But do you understand why they're a little bit unhappy that you guys are out there making a lot of money? There's a lot of you guys now making money, and basically you're taking business away from them.
Yes, the guys say that we're taking the money from their bread, but if you when I talk with this taxi driver, he says to me like, it's the kind of lift that they don't want. It's like a short distance.
Yeah, they don't want to do the short distance. I wouldn't believe that now for a minute, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'd say they do want to do them.
This is what the taxi driver was saying to me, like the kind of lift that we take like from the capital in Hunter Street to Dicey in Harvard Street. He says this kind of lift doesn't mean anything for him. So
you believe it kind of suits the taxi drivers to have it
for both of his work.
Do you think they're dangerous, rickshaws? But when there's so many of you now, there's hundreds of them.
Sorry?
Do you think they're dangerous?
I wouldn't say that.
And is that your own rickshaw? Did you buy that?
No, you rent the rickshaw.
Okay, so you're renting the rickshaw.
Some of us on some bike.
And it's the same. The last person we spoke to was renting as well. Is the same person renting all the rickshaws out? Is it the same person?
No, there is many people that own the bike, and also there's taxi drivers that own bikes.
Okay, can I ask you a question? And it's entirely up to yourself whether you want to answer it or not. There's a lot of rickshaw drivers, we believe, selling drugs. Is that true?
I don't do this kind of.
I'm not suggesting you do, but I'm sure you're aware of it.
I really nothing that I can say about that.
Okay, so you would admit it is happening.
It's like I said, nothing that I can say about that.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, listen, thank you for talking to us, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, all right, thanks very much. I'll come back to Jamie in a second. Let me go to Tony before I go to the break. Tony, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Tony?
No.
How you doing? Tony, happy to have you on, and thanks very much for raising the topic. We met you outside last night. Tony, you've heard a couple of the rickshaw drivers there. They're making 150 quid a night. That one said he wouldn't have no problem getting insurance if it was available to him, but you're not happy with them at all?
No, let's put it this way. You were coming in tonight, one nearly hit you on the roundabout.
Yeah, at the roundabout of the Keys there, yeah.
If that guy had hit you and done $2,000 worth of damage to your car, who would have had to pay for it?
Oh, well, he wouldn't be paying for it, that's for sure.
There's my whole point. And also, would that guy allow me go into his country and just start up a rickshaw business for nothing and take money out of taxi drivers' pockets? I'd be leached. It would not go on in their country, Niall. We have to wake up in this city. It's going on too long, Niall. They're putting nothing into it and they're taking everything out. We've had enough.
Does anybody have any idea? Do you have any idea, Tony, how many there is? How many rickshaw drivers there are now in Dublin, for example? I know you're only familiar with Dublin. How many is there in Dublin?
I'd say easily, like around Summerhill. When I go Summerhill, anywhere you go, the bottom of Glaston Street, we can't even get parking with them, Niall. I'd say on average a night there's at least 300 to 400 out at night. No problem, Niall. And also, Stephen, who was talking there, I just want to ask him, if his daughter gets killed in one, is he still going to feel the same way about it, about these rickshaws? I don't think so, Niall.
Well, look, Tony, as you said, Niall nearly got hit by one of these guys tonight. I'm pretty sure there's times where Niall nearly hit a cyclist or vice versa. It's the exact same type of argument. I understand that they are providing a service. I understand that. But what if a woman puts her child in a carrier seat on the back of her bike and the child gets injured? Do we have to regulate for that shit as well?
Yeah, but Stephen, you're going away from the fact. The fact is, right, if you come at me on any night of the week and watch what they're doing down Leeson Street...
Tony, it's all about money with you guys.
No, Steve, will you stop saying this about money? I'm in this...
Absolutely. Exactly, and it's about the bloody money.
Steve, what do you work at?
Unemployed.
You've answered my question, Steve.
How have I answered your question? You haven't even asked one, you knob.
You're the knob. You haven't a clue even what you're talking about.
I absolutely do. I've used rickshaws, I've used taxis, and can I just point out,
But Steve, you're really not listening to the argument very well, you know what I mean? And I already called you a clown, but you're not listening to the argument. Yes, it is about money, there's no doubt about that, but it's also about safety, and you're not listening to what the guys are saying. We're all clear with the understanding that they're not safe to some extent, and should have some sort of regulation or safety features in these particular rickshaws, or some sort of liability insurance. But yes, it is about the money too, Steve, because Tony and Jonathan, who was on earlier on, are paying 2 or 3 grand in insurance. They're paying a regulator every year. They have to keep their taxi in order. You know, they're paying their taxes. These guys are paying nothing. It's an unfair competition.
Exactly, so it's just begrudgery.
Well, no, that's not begrudgery. It's unfair competition. In the radio industry, for example, somebody can open up a pirate radio station next door to us, not pay any taxes, do it illegally, broadcast illegally, maybe become popular as well. You never even know. And it's not fair. We're paying our taxes here. We're paying all our PPI.
It's not fair. I mean,
but that's when you have competition in a market, it has to be fair. That's why we have an organisation in the city centre called the Competition Authority.
Do you know how childish you sound? It's not fair on us.
Sorry, yeah, Tony, go ahead.
Niall, if I was to take my roof sign off my car, would Steve get into my car?
No, because I wouldn't know you were a taxi.
Yeah, but would you get in and pay me? Would you get in and pay me if I said I'll bring you down the bottom of Grattan Street? Would you have to?
Probably.
You would?
Yeah, probably.
Bigger fool. Okay, hold on. Stay there for a second, Steve, as well. And please stay there as well, Tony. Lots of texts coming in at 53544. That's 535. You can take number line 1 if you want to, Gareth. I'll come back to Jamie as well after the break. I want to ask you about rickshaws. So many people interested. You can give us a call, by the way. The number is 1850 410 494. If you can't get through the first time, try again. So many people ringing. I'm assuming a lot of taxi drivers as well want to get involved in this. Someone said, I've seen rickshaws bringing people out as far as Terranure, Chapel Lizard, Rapmines, Rel, and many times, as Ken and Nace. Really, Niall, what a load of crap about taxi drivers. Niall, this is unbelievable, says Linda, because Linda says they should be regulated. Do they pay tax? Linda, do they pay tax? What a stupid question. Sorry, Linda, I'm not saying you're stupid, but of course they don't.
This is controversial and confrontational and may cause offense to some. Listener discretion is advised.
Alright, so with the text, I drive a taxi and picked up a couple of lads from Belfast at a hotel close to the airport. They asked me to take them to Stephen's Green to where the rickshaws are, so they could get some ecstasy for their night out in Dublin. Lovely. Okay, keep texting 53544. Somebody else says, Niall, well said in relation to these rickshaws. The majority of them seem to be dealing in drugs. Now, that sounds a fair statement to make, but there was a report in one of the newspapers recently which suggested that many of them were dealing in drugs. I'm not suggesting certainly all of them are. Let me just go back to Tony. Tony, is that something that you're familiar with, this drug dealing from the rickshaws?
All the time, Niall. All the time.
You're just going to say that. You're just going to say that. Do you know who my...
No, Steve, hang on, Steve. Do you actually read the newspapers ever? No?
Yeah, I do read.
Yeah, well, there was a big report in the newspaper recently where a reporter went out and asked many of them had they got any drugs, and many of them offered them drugs. They had them hidden under the seats.
And let me just tell you for a fact that my number one go-to guy for cocaine would be a taxi driver.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So, I mean...
What's that supposed to prove?
What it proves is that there's corruption in both sides.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest talk show hosts of radio in Ireland was on cocaine, wasn't he?
He was, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every radio presenter is on cocaine.
Absolutely.
But we've seen a clear report that many these rickshaw drivers are dealing in drugs.
You've ruined your own argument.
No, I haven't. I made a point to you clearly that there was a report done in a newspaper that went to a random amount of these rickshaw drivers, and the majority that they went to were dealing in drugs.
Well, let me make a couple of points here. I went out on a first date, about 2 or 3 months ago. And I went out with this girl, and we took a rickshaw. And it was so much nicer and different. It was a bit of fun and romantic. And who wants to be stuck in the taxi?
And by the way, I'm not having a go. That's fair enough. Okay, and it is nice. And yeah, I know this feeling, and I know all that, and that's lovely. And all Tony is saying is, well, look, if we're going to have it, and he has to put up with it, he wants fair competition in the market. Do you not understand that, Steve?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Regulations, there has to be liability insurance, there must be an order to it, there must be rules of the road.
I get that, right?
You don't get that.
Yes, I do. Will you let me answer the fucking question, please? I understand that there has to be some sort of regulations, but my argument with all of this is, no matter what regulations come in, the taxi drivers are not going to be happy with it.
Well, ask Tony that then. So, Tony, would you be happy if they brought in regulations around them?
Regulation is badly needed in this industry. And also, Steve, I just said to you earlier, if your niece or nephew was killed in one, how would you feel?
If my niece or nephew was killed in a car accident, I would equally feel as bad.
I asked a rickshaw, how would you feel?
I would feel equally as bad because of the death, not how they died. That's a stupid question. I'm sick and tired of getting into. I genuinely have no patience for taxi drivers because every time you get in, it's a guy named Tony or Mick that reeks of sweat. Sweaty Mick who's going, oh, the fucking government, the fucking partners, the fucking this. That's all you do, complain.
Well, I haven't had that experience in taxis, by the way, but however, that might be your experience.
Are you kidding me, Noel?
No, I'm not kidding. But I don't get that many taxis. I've got about 6 in the last year, but I haven't had that experience of Sweaty Mick talking about foreigners.
Yeah, I have.
I'm not saying he doesn't exist, by the way.
Most taxi drivers, when you get in, they
most.
About absolutely, yeah. I can say most taxi drivers that I
you clearly haven't been around very much.
Are you deaf? Is there something wrong with your ears?
Is there something wrong with your observation levels? Stay there for a second. Let me just go to Jaslyn. Jaslyn, you're on Classic Kids. How you doing, Jaslyn?
Hiya.
Is it Jaslyn or Jaslyn?
Jaslyn, yeah.
Okay, you're a taxi driver.
Yeah, I am indeed, yeah.
Okay, and how long are you working as a taxi driver in Dublin or Ireland?
About nearly 2 years.
Okay, and what's your experience with these rickshaw drivers?
They're really bad. I was at the Cavan Street lights. Light went green. I was going through it and the chap crossed the red light right in front of my car, break the front bumper, injured himself as well, and he was refused to go to the hospital at the end. I rang the gas didn't arrive at time. I brought him to the hospital, pay €100 for him, wait until his family member arrived, and then after that I have to pay about €400 to fix my car as well.
So you paid for his hospital bill?
Well, yeah, he haven't got anything on him. He has about €50. Once you go to the hospital, you need €100.
Yeah.
And he haven't got it.
And were you not annoyed that he just destroyed the front of your car?
Well, and another thing as well, I feel guilt as well because he got the injury because of me. I don't want to do that, but that's his fault. He crossed the red light, and I don't want to leave him in the middle of the road as well.
Yeah.
And I rang the ambulance and all, but like he was just like to walk away with his broken rickshaw. And I put the rickshaw on the side. He called his colleague. They look after the rickshaw. I brought him to the hospital myself. And after that, I pay to fix my car as well. Who's going to pay for all this? Nobody. And I was in the work for a couple of days as well.
Niall, what's that guy's name? Jaslyn?
Jaslyn.
Jaslyn.
Yeah.
You were the biggest idiot in the first place for paying that money when legally you had no obligation to pay any of these hospital fees. If he he had a little bit of empathy for the guy. He felt sorry for him.
What you going to do if you have somebody with you who is bleeding, who has injuries, right, and he needs to go to the hospital, and the hospital need €100 straight away, otherwise they won't take him.
That's a bullshit. You get sent a bill.
Well, what about bullshit? You go to the James Hospital in an emergency, bring somebody who's injured with you, and they ask for the €100.
No, they don't.
They do, Steve. They do. Of course they ask for money.
You get a fucking
bill.
Where
are you fucking living?
I live in Dublin and I've been in James Hospital.
Yeah, you must know that. The hospital service, the emergency service is €100. We're not here to argue about it, mate, right? He damaged my car. He's not supposed to cross the red light, but he did. Who's going to pay for it? He has no insurance. I can't ask him for money because he don't even have a money to pay for the hospital. How's he going to have a money to pay for my car?
Let me ask you a question, Vajazzle.
Yeah.
If you are a responsible taxi driver, if that had been a pedestrian, you should have stopped in time before you hit that.
You're blaming him now for this rickshaw driver breaking the lights and him running into it. You're blaming him.
What about a pedestrian?
Are you off your head, Steve? Steve, are you being paid by some organisation for running rickshaws tonight?
Will you listen to me? What about a pedestrian who crosses the road and causes an accident? They're not regulated. Come off it.
But at least you can see them, right? I have a right of the way. I see there's nobody here. I check my wing mirrors. I go ahead. He just crossed the red light from the other side of it. We shouldn't be doing. If he's behind me, I can at least see him and stop.
And you could You could have done the exact same thing with a pedestrian.
I stopped. I didn't go straight ahead. I do my observation before I move. Even then, he crossed a proper red light. He should stop there, but he didn't.
I understand that, and why can't you understand that a pedestrian can cause the same amount of trouble, and so can a cyclist?
I hear, mate. I can see them at least, but they do they can stop at the lights as well. If they run, they can see the car is stopped and they run.
You know what the problem
is? They can see them clearly. But listen to me another thing. I'll tell you one more thing, right?
The problem is taxi drivers think they own the fucking road.
We don't.
With the greatest respect, Steve, you have an inability to listen to other people when they're trying to talk to you.
Nobody on the road, but to use these roads, we all have to follow the rules of the road. But they are not following any rules of the road whatsoever. Drive on the one-way street, do whatever they like. No one there to stop them. They never issued with any fine whatsoever.
Given out about cyclists, pedestrians, rickshaw drivers, motorbike drivers.
We respect everybody. Whoever is on the road, right? We don't give it out about anybody. Whoever follows the rule of the road. But they are not following the rules of the road, man, right?
On Niall Station alone.
I tell you what, right? You go down to the Three Arena tonight. There's a concert on. After the concert, you're going to see they're going to be all over the place. Even 2 days ago on the roundabout, they didn't stop at the roundabout, straight in front of my car as well. If I don't stop, there's another crash there.
Do you know what jealousy is?
No, hang on, it's not jealousy. It happened to me as well. And it's purely coincidental tonight that I knew I was going to be talking about rickshaws. Come around the O2 or the Three Arena tonight, around the roundabout. Sure enough, a rickshaw driver drove straight across the road in front of me. And a guard stood watching him doing it and did nothing about it.
And the same reaction would have been given from the guard if I had been a pedestrian or a cyclist.
Well, how come the pedestrian going to be going on the roundabout with the lights on?
I think because they could run through a roundabout, or the cyclists could do the same thing.
Okay, well, say that. Let me go to Peter. Peter, you're on Classic Hits. Say no, Peter.
Not so bad.
Good, Peter. Look, the amount of calls we're getting and the amount of texts here from taxi drivers and, by the way, one or two from rickshaw drivers as well is absolutely incredible. It seems to be a big problem, Peter.
Well, that's it. If you go down Harcourt Street, it's just like a pantomime down there, you know. You have to say, the average Joe South, say it just goes to work, but they only come out at night time. That's because
that's what the business is.
Customers they get are drunk.
Yeah.
You don't see them working during the day because people, you know, they have too much sense not to get in with them. So they don't only target drunk people and get them when they come out, and then especially young girls, and then haggle them.
And what about the drugs? We're hearing a lot about drugs tonight. A lot of texts coming in about people saying that they bought drugs off them. Is that?
Oh, that's the known thing. If you want drugs, you go to the Rickies. The drugs on wheels.
Right. Okay.
I don't know what's going on in the background, but it's a very lucrative trade.
But it seems to be a lucrative business.
Back in, people have a few quid, you know, they're gonna.
And as a taxi driver, I mean, Steve is saying the only reason you guys are pissed off is because they're taking food from your table, basically.
Well, no, it was grand when they first came in. There's just a few guys, and they're very civilised, just to wave at you and that. It's just the last couple of years, they're after, like, multiplying. And
it seems in the last few months it's got so bad.
Yeah, well, it's more of a kind of a summer job as well, but there's still a lot of them in the winter, but...
So basically what you were saying is that the crumbs from the table was all right years ago, but now that they're actually taking a healthy slice of your business, you're going to kick up stink.
Well, they're taking over the city. I'm trying to take over the city the other night, and there was three of them blocking. I couldn't even get around, and they're doing it on purpose.
Mark my words, regulation will come in for rickshaw drivers. And when it does come in, I want Niall to do another topic and ask taxi drivers how they feel about it then when they're all regulated. You will be doing the exact same thing, pissing and whining and moaning and complaining because it's a bit of healthy competition and you can't stand it.
But there won't be... Well, they say it's around 700 to 1,000 drivers. They're not going to regulate that amount. They'd probably be about 100.
But if they did bring in regulation,
in designated areas.
If they brought in regulation tomorrow and said, okay, you know, you have to have insurance, you have to have some sort of training, you have to have some sort of, I don't know, licensing for it or regulation for it, would you then be still giving out about it?
It depends on the regulations, yeah.
See, there's no pleasing the taxi drivers.
Jasleen, would you like to see it regulated or would you like to see it gone, Jasleen?
Just gone. I don't want them regulated. And that guy is absolutely right. They are taking money from our pocket, right? What I start at 9 o'clock on the Saturdays. 9 till 12, I make about €20. They do all the small trips, right? When the people need to far away, they need our taxis. They can't go far away in the rickshaws.
So what you were saying, Vijazel, is that when a bit of healthy competition comes in, we should just get rid of it and squash it because you don't agree with it.
Listen to me, right? There's only little amount of people here, right? You can regulate for under rickshaws. Listen to me first. Let me finish it first, right? How many people living in Ireland? How many people do the nights out on the Saturday nights? If it's about 200 rickshaws there, listen to me first, will you? If it's about 200 rickshaws out there on the Grafton Street, right, they can do all the small fares. We sitting on the ranks, waiting till 12 o'clock when the people wants to go home, and at 6 o'clock, I want to finish. I haven't made enough money to pay my insurance and other stuff. I will be out of the business.
Do you not understand?
You want me to out of the business, yeah?
Well, I don't know. Okay, we'll use the window cleaner analogy again. Let's say you decided to become a window cleaner tomorrow morning, then you'll be all your insurance and this, that and the other. And next of all, in the area you're working, another 20 window cleaners come in. Are you going to kick up a stink and say, well, I want them all out? You can't.
That's what I'm saying to you. If there's a job for the 20 people, they can do it. I don't mind. I still get my hours. But here, I'm not getting the money, man.
Taxi drivers are getting plenty of money.
€20, 9 o'clock start till 12 o'clock. Sitting on the ranks. Nobody come there because the rickshaw drivers bring them. And you know what? If I want to see them regulated. Once you regulate them, they won't be able to go on the one-way streets, right? So they have to go all the way around. What they do, right? Pick the fare from the Dawson Street, go through the Stephen Greens, go from the back, the driveway through the footpath and all, drive to the Lewis lines and bring them to the Harcourt Street. I love to see them go all the way around like a taxi driver.
I see, this is the point, Steve. It's not a fair game. You know what I mean? The taxi drivers have to obey the rules of the road. They have to go the right way up the one-way streets. These guys don't. They break all the rules of the road, which is also dangerous for the passengers too. Stay there for a second. Let me go to Preet, I think it is. Preet, you're on Classic Hits. Is it Preet? Am I pronouncing that right? Preet?
My real name is Gurpreet, so you guys be having a pronunciation situation here, so just say Preet. Right?
Okay, Preet, okay. All right, so you want to talk to Steve there, go ahead.
Nice talking to you. Yeah, one of my taxi guy is on the yeah. I say the total argument should be here, like, regulate the rickshaws. When we say ban the rickshaws, I say it sends a wrong message to, like, people like Steve. He doesn't even work, and he's giving suggestions. He's like window cleaners and all. It's stupid, like, you know. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay, listen here, Peter Brett. I don't know what your name is.
His name would if you have a little bit of respect, Steve, it'd be nice. You know what I mean? I know you're kind of mocking Jocelyn's name a second ago. If you call him Priest, that'd be nice.
Okay. All right, Preet. Where are you from?
Doesn't matter.
The answer's bloody.
But it's irrelevant where he's from.
Yeah, no, it's not, because I have a perfectly valid argument if you would just answer the question. It's not too personal. No, I'll answer the question. Where are you from?
Well, I tell you what, Preet, just humour him, because I'm interested to know what he wants to ask you.
Yeah, okay. I'll answer his question, Jeff. What's wrong in that? Nothing.
Where are you from?
I said India.
India, okay.
Yeah.
India has one of the highest, and I knew you were Indian, highest populations in the world, and it also has hundreds of thousands.
You have no clue. You don't
hundreds of thousands of rickshaws on the road over there every day, which is unregulated. So get back on your bike and go over and complain over there.
I don't know who I'm talking to. You have no sense. Have you ever walked in your life? Have you? Just tell me, have you ever walked in your life?
No, I haven't. No.
So these people are taking our job away. That's what we're talking about here, man.
Dude, are you money, man? Stupid.
My insurance is 10 grand. I'm paying 10 grand. My car.
Well, then go back over to fucking India and walk over there.
Table giving us suggestions, man. You're an idiot.
Go back over to India and get a fucking job there. It's so bad for you here.
I can't even use that language. This guy is stupid.
I mean, you have some next, Steve. You're the one who's not working. He's, okay, from another country living here, but at least he's working and paying his taxes, paying for your dole, and you would cheat to give out to him.
And hold on, he's complaining about Dude, will you do me a favour and calm your fucking jet for 2 seconds? What you're doing is you're coming on here and complaining about the corruption or there's no regulations. When you come from a place that is just massively corrupt, and there's no regulations whatsoever in your country, and you want to complain about us, go get back on your fucking bike and go home to India.
You can't even listen, you're an idiot.
Yeah, and walk over in there in the taxi and see how much fucking...
But by the way, Preet, can I ask you a question, Preet? I've got Preet, you listen to me.
Yes,
in India, is there many rickshaws?
So many. So that's why we ran away from that country to live in a proper country with laws. That's why we are here, and we're doing a regulated service. We're providing a people public service. It's called public service vehicle, the taxi, yeah. And we don't mind. I mean, if there's 100 of rickshaws, they're proper regulated. People are insurance, they're following the laws and everything. Who cares, like? But when they just not paying even a penny, and they're taking our work away, we feel, you understand, other people understand it, they're just taking a food card.
It's not competition, it's unfair competition. There has to be fairness in competition, Steve. Clearly you don't understand that because you're a layabout.
Let me explain.
Window cleaners, I think he's only a window cleaner. I don't have, again, anybody worker, okay. Doesn't matter what they do.
Let's be clear about this, Preet. The only work that Steve does is getting up off his sofa and going into the toilet. That's the only work that he does.
I have to go to the post office every week.
Yeah, you have to go to the post office to collect your money, yeah.
Let me make a quick point here. Peter Brett, will you just shut up your mouth for 2 seconds? Can I get a point in? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
The fact of the matter is, you have zero right to come over here and complain the way you're complaining.
Okay.
Because it's healthy competition. Eventually, let me finish. Let me finish. Eventually, this will be regulated.
I'm part of the fucking system. That's why I'm claiming you, Muppet. I'm a part of the system. Do you get that?
Are you finished?
You fucking sitting at home on the sofa, collecting the fucking money from the post office and giving out about the fucking people working on the street.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Are you serious, man?
Yes, I'm 100% serious.
I can't believe people like you living in this fucking country. Seriously, man?
Yeah, maybe I should just go back home. You're a shithole of a country.
Man. I don't like to talk to you. Just stop my fucking food.
If you're so unhappy over here, go home.
I'm so happy, man. I'm so happy.
Yeah, you don't sound it. You don't sound it. Let me make my point.
That's why I'm here.
Let me make my point. Dude, will you shut the fuck up and let me make my point?
Are you jealous of that?
Are you going to shut up now? Because I'm not going to keep asking you to shut up.
Jealous of that so much. Come to the point.
The fact of the matter is, it will be regulated at Jesus Christ.
Come back to the point.
Is there a switch on you?
You want to talk about the rickshaws? Come back to the point and let other people talk. Come back to the point.
Right, ready? Eventually, there will be regulations brought in and around rickshaws. Of course there will, because people like you and the government are going to kick up a stink. And when it does happen, these people will still equally be taking the bread from the table to which you feast. So at the end of the day, your complaint will still remain the same.
Taxi and buying a rickshaw because it's way cheaper to run a fucking business.
So why don't you do that?
The amount of money as taxi drivers making.
Well, then why don't you do that? Get out of your taxi and fucking rent a rickshaw, you moany prick.
I do that. I don't have to ask you, Muppet.
Would you do it? Would you walk on a rickshaw if it was more money?
Of course I would, man.
Then why are you complaining? You just ruined your entire argument.
My car worth 15 grand. I'm paying every year for the suitability and city. Why would I pay for that?
You just admitted
for living, and I'd be better getting my living from the rickshaws. What? You
just admitted that you would
sit on your couch collecting money, having 2 beers, and sleep.
It's like trying to talk to Helen the Nordy.
Well, I think the point he's making, or trying to make, if you actually listen to him, is that he would be better off getting out of his taxi with the cost of running the taxi and driving a rickshaw. He'd probably make just as much money, but the point is, for the general public, it wouldn't be as safe, Steve.
And I asked him, would he do it? And he said yes. So he would be part of the corrupt system, which he hates so much, because it's all to do with fucking money.
Sorry, Jocelyn?
Hello?
Yeah, Jocelyn, did you say something there? Sorry, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, well, we play a bigger role in the transport industry, right? This fella has to realize that. If we are out of the business, who's gonna brought him home if he live far away? And he just keep talking about the regulation. Regulate the rickshaws, right? They bring the customer from the Dawson Street towards the Harcourt Street or the Leeson Street. If they have to go all the way around, people won't jump in it. It takes about 15 minutes to rickshaw if he follow the rules of the road and go through the one-way street properly. and it takes only 5 minutes in the taxi. So people definitely not going to take those rickshaws. They definitely jump in our taxis. But that actually not happen. They turn around, go through the one-way street, and then annoy us as well, annoy other road users. That shouldn't be happen. Regulate them and let them follow the rules of the road. Then I see the people can sit in them or not. They won't.
Okay, well, listen, guys, I got to go back to Jamie just before I finish this up. But thanks to everybody who got involved so far tonight. Jamie is outside the 3 Arena tonight. Yeah. The Kings of Leon are on. Jamie, I'm shocked what I'm reading on the screen here.
I'm shocked at the moment myself. It seems here there's more than 200 rickshaws parked here, but the Gardaí have actually arrived and are now moving rickshaws.
So there's over 200 rickshaws outside the 3 Arena?
There's definitely more than, at least 200 rickshaws here, yeah.
And they're all over the place like a swarm of bees.
They're parked in one spot, and it looks like to me now the guy is moving every rickshaw off the quays.
And why are they moving? Oh, they're actually on the quays there, along the quays, are they?
Yeah, they're on the quays. They're parked in a massive group along the quays there.
Right, okay. And is there some sort of... I kind of wonder, is there some sort of order to it, or is it just a free-for-all?
Well, what's been happening here now, while you were talking, people are coming out, customers are coming out of the show, and from across the street, the rickshaws are shouting, "Hi, you guys, take a rickshaw, would you like a lift?"
Right, okay. And then do they go to the first rickshaw in the queue, or do they just pick whichever one they want?
There's a queuing system in order. I'm not sure how they're working it, but it's crazy here. Every rickshaw is just pulling away.
I'd say it's a nightmare, them all pulling out onto... Because that's the main road. They're all pulling out onto the main road there.
It's a very busy main road right now as well at that. But rickshaws are pulling away in 10s and 20s here.
And is there many taxis around?
There's 1, 2, 3... There's about 20 taxis parked along the left-hand side of the road.
You see, here's the problem. Now, I don't know whether the taxi drivers think it's too bad because they're into traffic up there. There's a lot of... I mean, you're going to have whatever... What does the 3 Arena hold? About 20,000? Many?
16,500.
16,500 people coming out of there tonight. And, you know, there's no taxis for them. So the only way they might be able to get to town if they want to is either by the Lewis or the rickshaws.
Yeah.
So they don't really have a choice in some sense, do they? If they want to get into town.
No, but the rickshaws are being moved from here now. So the only option they have left is a taxi or a Lewis.
Okay. So the guards are not letting the rickshaws pick up people now?
No, the guard is moving people off. It seems to be that he's leaving some here and he's taking some away.
Okay.
And telling some to go away.
Right, okay. That's
he's just taking... Hold on, there's a bit of an notification here now. A rickshaw guy has been filming the guard. The guard has just pulled his phone off him.
And he's fighting with the guards?
He's arguing with the guards, yeah.
Right, okay. I can hear a bit of fighting or shouting and roaring going on in the background there.
Yeah.
And and the guard took the phone off him?
The guard took the phone off him for filming him, yeah.
Because he was filming him?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have the right to do that.
No. So, I don't know whether the guard is telling them they're illegal or he doesn't want them to park there. But he's not happy with them being there and he's moving them off.
Right, okay. All right, well, listen, well done, Jamie. Listen, thanks very much indeed. There you go. There's Jamie Harrington outside the Kings of Leon, the 3 Arena. 200 rickshaws outside there. And the guards now all moving them. Now, I don't know why they're moving them. Maybe because we were talking about them tonight or something. I don't know.